There was several big, like if you had such headlines. Here would be one headline. Stanich exposes the Bassett Code.
How about number 3 on our statements made on the weekend?
I don't want a veggie burger. I want a real burger. But if there's no real burgers around, I'll take a veggie burger. Do you watch film? Do you study film? No, not really. You know, I concentrate on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What? Look, this guy has perfected an A move. You will see this move. You will have to deal with this move. And now I'm going to World War III at the beginning of the season. And
I'm sure he said yes after he heard Kale say no.
I know.
That doesn't make sense. He said, wait, Kale said no? We're saying yes.
I know. There you go, Kale. Mako, I don't know what you just let people push you around?
I know.
What? You just get pushed around?
Statement weekend, folks, at the U.S. Open. We're here to talk about the top 3 statements made, along with recap everything else. U20, U17, and the Senior U.S. Open, the Claw U.S. Open, folks. An incredible fireworks weekend, folks.
Set,
this is BEG Wrestling. We are here.
Whoa, nice hat.
Claw U.S. Open represented well.
There wasn't 2 of them sent?
Yeah, they sent a sticker for me to put on that white one. Oh, no. Hey. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Fireworks of a weekend. What an incredible weekend of wrestling we had. Statements were made from quite a few, and it wasn't just 3, but we're here to talk about maybe our top 3, but
well,
your thoughts.
Right off the bat, the thing I learned from this Open was when it comes to the USA men, no one has an unreachable lead on the second place guy or guys. It just doesn't. You hear the term, well, everyone's beatable. Yeah, I know. That's true. I understand. But there's times where you see a guy get such a distance on anyone that we thought that was going on with Gable Stevenson, and that got exposed.
Proven wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we had everything from a high schooler winning a senior.
You could say maybe Spencer Lee is the biggest absolute lock, but after watching Lillidahl, obviously Lillidahl looked as good as I've ever seen him. I can see that being a fight. I mean, I know Spencer teched him last time, folks. I can hear the Iowa people, and I'm rooting for the best at each weight. At this point, we're all on the same team, but to me, I came away. Now, I can name some lady wrestlers that, no, I don't see any chance.
Kennedy Blades.
Elore. No one's going to touch them, too. I just don't see it. But with the men, every single one, it would not shock me.
Well,
would not shock. And we could go juniors or seniors, but
we had a high schooler win. We had wrestlers that we thought might have been done and over, like Yanni come through. We had NCAA champions Mendez go down. Kyle Dake goes down. I called that, by the way.
Yeah, that was a good call, and I didn't see that coming. And there was several big, like if you had such headlines. Here would be one headline. Stanich exposes the Bassett Code.
How about number 3 on our statements made on the weekend? Bo Bassett, yes, you said it. Bo Bassett goes down to Luke Stanich.
Yeah, and you say, what are you talking about? Look, Stanich is so good in hand fighting that he did not let himself get overwhelmed, because Bassett goes out with this big pace, heavy hands, lots of hand fighting, snapping the heads, running around, and Stanich said, maybe it's just Stanich's style. That's Bassett's kryptonite. Yeah. I don't know, but it wasn't going to happen. So what happened then, in an effort to keep that high pace that I'm known for, this high pace, he actually got a little sloppy with his shots, and Stanich took advantage of it.
Yeah.
And all of I say is you see something like that happen, it gives others, hey, that's not a bad game plan. It's not look, all we have to do is not get overwhelmed at him snapping your head and hand fighting you, and and his pace. The thing is ultimately Bassett, you have to respect the kid, how much he works. Will he get better because of this? Yes. But, yeah, you can't get too rushy where you're taking a bad shot, and obviously Stanich had a rock-solid defense on going. It had to be set up right. It wasn't just going to happen off of high pace.
Yeah, the Bassett code could be exposed, and it's like Ali is when in the rope-a-dope, right? He let him outpace himself.
Here, I'll give Bassett some more in case he's watching, some more fuel for the fire. Zach, is he the third best McCourt wrestler? Whoa! Whoa! What?
I mean, Jax Forrest.
Get out of here!
But
Jax Forrest blew us away. Okay, Melvin Miller. Daggone Melvin Miller. The one part about Melvin Miller, I'm not that wild about. I keep hearing, and he's only a sophomore. Dude, I almost ignore the grades that they're in because we got 18-year-olds, sophomores. All I know is there's like a year and 3 months difference between Melvin Miller and PJ Duke. So we're not talking the two and a half years that the announcers like to pay. He's only a sophomore. No, dude, I want to talk about is wrestling. His wrestling, he's a real deal, and he's getting better. You can see it.
Gave PJ Duke a run for his money there.
Yeah, PJ Duke's that little chin whip. He goes up 4, he gets the big 4, and I think it kind of took PJ Duke out of his game a little bit because he maybe a little defense. I guarantee if you went to PJ Duke and said, how'd you wrestle? He'd say, that was one of my worst matches. I think PJ Duke would win substantially if they wrestled next weekend, but that's not taking anything away from Melvin Miller, and that's zero reason. Iowa fans should be very excited about Melvin Miller. Because they know they're going to get him unless Melvin shocks us all.
Well,
that could happen.
I guess it's not official yet, but yeah, he lost to Duke only 8-5, and Duke had that 4-point throw kind of backdoored it there early in the match.
Yeah.
But so, you're saying Duke would dominate. I don't know. I think I would lean the other way.
I'll be the first to say I'm not the biggest freestyle guy. I just ain't. Yeah, I don't like half gymnastics, half twister, half wrestling. It's a little. What? I like something that looks like a parking lot fight, and I like control. So I will forever be a folk style guy.
We saw a couple of these finals matches look like parking lot fights.
That's true.
If you want me to be honest, man.
That's true. I enjoyed this, and it's all we have. I often said, you know what freestyle is like? It's like a veggie burger. Now, I don't want a veggie burger. I want a real burger. Yeah, but if there's no real burgers around, I'll take a veggie burger. But
it's real good, then, doesn't it?
I will say I was entertained. Both the juniors and the seniors was all I mainly focused on. I know there was a lot of other actions, the ladies, the U17s, and all that. But the bottom line that hit me, Zach, was all these people. I'm up to here with Kale and this dynasty. Dude, we may have not seen the ultimate strength of this dynasty before it burns out. Because
you want to go to the biggest impact statement from the weekend?
Maybe because
it's not a single individual. It might be. Say it. Penn State.
And what? How the numbers start. Some of the guys just like the Henkels of the world. Henkel just blew me away. Wow, I knew he was good. I didn't know he was that good. Not much less, Liliendahl, he's got years left. Messenbrink's got years left. Duke, I know that wasn't his greatest performance, but he won. Okay, he won. And let's admit, Duke is just flat out fun. I've not been more excited about a wrestler than the Jason Nolf,
my prediction,
Bo Nickel days.
Next 4-timer, PJ Duke.
Well, you just don't know what he's going to do, and his arsenal is so spread out that he's just fun to watch, and he's nasty too. But you got the.
I will say, PJ Duke does seem so naturally gifted, doesn't
he?
Oh yeah. You don't see people with that kind of just. Yeah. They're that good at that many things.
Oh, I know.
How do you even attack PJ? It's not strength. It
was in the little documentary, mini doc that they had on him where he said, people think I was born with this. No, I worked. This is my way of life. That's
worked, but he was also born with a lot of the DNA. I can
yeah.
I mean, you don't.
But Jaden James down at the U17, he looked dominant. He's a Penn State guy, but. I mean, the Mirasolas. You got to give it to the Mirasolas,
dude.
Yes. Going. All of a sudden, I'm less worried about our heavyweight next year. But even the guys that lost, the Marcus Blazes, okay, he didn't wrestle the way he should have wrestled. He kind of wrestled into Gross's game plan there. But you live and learn. We already know he's a major, okay? But Sealy. You know, Sealy went out them 2 dual matches last year, and I think from this was the biggest problem. He just looked like a deer in headlights, and I knew that was temporary, and that can be expected. But at these big freestyle tournaments, he's right at home, and quite frankly, he lost to the grand old Mr. Everything, Ladarian Lockett, which I'm not taking anything away from Oklahoma State's Ladarian Lockett. No doubt the kid's good. You know what? Sealy was right there from beating him. He really was. So that was a fantastic match, and
Oklahoma
look
State
forward to that. Maybe
weekend.
being even Sam Herring losing to Kyler Larkin. Sam Herring looks good. The whole entire youth movement that's coming to State College. Oh, my.
Well, how about just in wrestling in general? Because, I mean, Oklahoma State had a good weekend, like some of these kids, and maybe Iowa didn't have the greatest weekend, right? But really, overall, the talent coming up here, man, is exciting, in general.
Well, the thing about Iowa, I want to say something about that first, but I got to ask you, Zach. Me and you have sat here, we put Angelo Ferrari, and we put Max McAnally, top tier, everybody else down. I think someone needs added, don't they?
Let's go to statement number 3 from the weekend. Impact statement. Aiden Sinclair, you touched on it before and said don't forget about this kid. He reminded everybody this weekend.
Dude, he got robbed. And one of the things I don't like about freestyle is the inconsistency in the scoring and the timing, and so much is dependent on the ref. Look, the ref gives 2. At that moment, there should be an automatic this long, give the man a chance to make a turn.
I agree, yeah.
Oh, don't be stopping and putting them on their feet after a second and a half because there are only 15 seconds left and I'm going to give this guy a chance. No, that's not how it works. You know, I was always so happy about Stevenson's gold medal. But in all seriousness, the one thing that bothered me about that gold medal, where'd that come from? I mean, Stevenson takes him down and says, okay, let him up. He didn't even try for a turn. Look, either there has to be absolute consistent practices.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, son. You have to try to turn him for the next 12 seconds. And that's the way.
It should probably be like.
That's the way freestyle works. 5. I'm not going to just put him on the feet because you have a better chance getting the final winning takedown. That was wrong. The Aiden Sinclair thing was wrong. I mean, just be consistent. That's all. Be fair. I was impressed with McAnally. The fact that he's able to go get a takedown with whatever it was, 11 seconds left, you got to give it to him. In fact, you want to point the finger at Aiden saying, what's wrong with you? But then what really is wrong with you is what are you doing both seniors and juniors together? One of the most impressive.
What's wrong with that?
Impressive feats I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, dude, what a man.
Dude. And he gets runner-up at both.
I know. And impressive. Statement made from Aiden Sinclair, dude. Oh. We don't forget about him. Don't forget. We got a 3-horse race there. Yeah, that's pretty clear now.
Yeah, and as far as back to Iowa, the rough. Iowa did have some things that, they seen Mako lose to Marisola. And, a lot of Iowa fans says, I'm not worried about them. Heck, he took Marisola down how many times? Marisola, all he could do is get push-outs. Okay, that's the rules. But Mako almost wins at the end with the takedown. I would agree with Iowa people that loss to Marisola didn't bother me at all because he's taking the man down.
Yeah.
Except Marisola goes and loses then and ends up getting, what is it? Here, I can tell you here in a second. Hopke beat Marisola or Mako 6-2. Now, that bothered me because Mako's our big guy. He's... I don't know what to think.
Maybe a letdown after that first loss.
Yeah.
Natural. He's a young kid.
Yeah, and he's plenty of. That's true, but and Dean, is Dean the next Kyle Cornell 2.0? That's all I know is Kyle Cornell came in, and he's the biggest thing. He transferred to Penn State and. He might have got one win or something, and then he got hurt, and it was over.
Yeah, well.
And it's like, no, I don't think that. In fact, I'm rooting for Dean because I like the whole Division III wrestler coming up. Show the whole world that we got Division III wrestlers that are good enough to compete in Division I, and this is a grand stage and. Person. I think Dean will have a fine year, fantastic. I don't think he's a champion contender.
AA'er?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
I'm gonna.
Wasn't his best outlet today, but think about he's so young. Just think about your whole head swirling.
A lot of changes going on.
I'm transferring over here, and I'm meeting
Fair.
new people. Like he's not at peace right now. Like you settle in, you get at peace, and then everything can change. I kind of experienced that with the new job. You're just you're unsettled. So I'm not going to be too harsh on Dean. He did lose. The Bassett loss had to sting a little bit for Iowa, but ultimately you say, no, that's good. Bassett's, look how much he's improved. This will improve him even more, especially for a guy that's that oriented to working. I agree. Bassett will be Miller losing. That actually had to be one of the most encouraging losses because no one takes PJ Duke down, much less twice. So I don't think it really was I'll tell you the one thing that I've really got a kick out of, Zach, was the chess game that's going on between David Teller and Cale. And there is a chess game. Oh, and there's no doubt about it. And the biggest move to me, it was like in your face, was, okay, Robidoux comes out and wrestles. He has to wrestle Duke, PJ Duke. We all know Robidoux is the real deal and all that stuff, but is he at the level of PJ Duke? Let's be real here. No. We know who's going to win that, okay? What's Cale do? He sends Gilman out to sit on the other side away from out.
David Teller.
Boom in your face, David.
Sitting across from each other, coach.
Oh, my goodness. You talk about a little chess game. There's little games within the games going on there.
I did see
that. They don't like to talk about it, but believe me, there's little games going on there. And
you're absolutely right, dude. Wow. One up for Cale.
As soon as I seen that, I thought, you can say, well, out of respect, I'll take the corner. No, Cale said, Thomas, how about you coach PJ in this one?
that would burn me up if I'm David Taylor, dude.
An overhand right.
I'm like, Cale, you want to wrestle right now, dude? We can be the next match, dude. Like, are you serious?
Boy, I tell you, and all this, respect and nice talk and to all the press and everything. Believe me, there's some there's some real competitive fires burning.
Well, how about one where David Taylor won up Kale, and that would be my honorable mention statement of the weekend, which is Jack Forrest, dude. A high schooler, going and winning seniors. He's going to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
David Taylor got himself a little gold chip there, doesn't he? Maybe Jax is the next.
Yeah, and David had his little wins too. The Lockett win over Sealy. Although, again, we were kind of, isn't it kind of all well known that we kind of expected Lockett to maybe dominate that, get in the verge of domination, and Sealy's right there with him. So I don't, but it still win.
Yeah, Sealy impressed me. And after those two dual meets in the regular season, one of which he should have won. Remember, bad call at the end.
Yeah,
but he looked good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
some of the other. Okay, what are you going to go through a list? Or are you going to start at something? Because one match I want to talk about that I said was my most anticipated, did not disappoint. Messenbrink, David Carr.
Yes.
And, dude,
yes.
Here's what I thought. I watched that match a couple times. David Carr, I think at his A++, Messenbrink A++, I think David Carr is like a percentage point better. He got the takedown on Messenbrink. But I think Messenbrink's tank is so much. His gas tank is so long.
Dude.
So as quick as David Carr starts here, and then it's like, dude, after like 30 seconds, he's quickly below Messenbrink. But that was fun.
It leads me to the next question. One of the questions I wanted to ask you in this podcast was, who is the next major threat to tying Cale's undefeated college streak? And Messenbrink, I could see him finishing with one loss. Cale should be like arm around David Carr.
Best buddies with David Carr.
Thank you, buddy. And because I don't see Messenbrink losing. Now, if I had to pick one, obviously the whole Jax Force and what he's doing, that name immediately kind of comes to mind. PJ Duke might be the top. What do you say? Well, Bassett, it'll be 2 years before we see Bassett. What if he redshirts? It'll be even longer. Bassett could be a threat.
Can I say something about those three specifically? I'll tell you what I see when I watch those three wrestle. I see probably three exact same work ethics, right? Yeah. Bassett is just good at promoting it better. The difference in PJ Duke and Jax Forrest to me is it's the natural athleticism, dude. They have tools in their arsenal that other wrestlers, they can't even get those tools. They're not athletic enough to even acquire those tools. And I'm not saying Bassett's like unathletic, because he's very athletic, very good. I just think PJ Duke and Jax Forrest, athleticism, natural ability is just like at a different level, dude. Like,
yeah, they're so good at knowing where their weight is, and that's the thing that you could say, you can't teach that. Like, you have to feel it, and they obviously have that. I would agree, more so than Bassett. I'm not saying Bassett doesn't have it, but it's so visibly present in them too. It's
just different in PJ Duke and Jax. They're just different. It's a whole different level, dude. It's like it's like Deion Sanders' athleticism and Shedeur Sanders' athleticism. Deion and Shedeur, they ain't the same. There's a reason why Shedeur didn't get drafted till the 5th round. Deion didn't help him, but my goodness. Deion,
that's a whole towards the end. I might have a question about that.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of run over the let's run over it just real quick. The U20s at 57, Anthony Knox over Antonio Mills. Antonio Mills is a Missouri kid, so they got a stud coming there. Of course, Anthony Knox is Cornell.
Yep.
We all know the whole thing. In fact, he had a little mini doc about the whole fight and everything he went through. And, he
had a season-long documentary for the whole, I believe, for the whole final year.
Yeah, I mean, I almost don't want to comment on the fight and that whole thing because I don't really care. I don't care. Although I will say, Zach, I am a guy that I like sticking to rules. And the rules made, and that's the consequences. And you say, well, it's not right. It's not fair. It was some real ugly words up there in the stands. Look, because you got your feelings hurt, we're not switching the rules because the precedence that sets for the future, okay, my wrestler can go in the stands and fight if he's got a good excuse. No, it's got to be, I like black and white rules.
Yeah,
nope,
no.
Sorry, that's the rules. And, it's one thing, if I had to run defend grandma or mom. There was no guy around. I could buy into that a little more than I'm going to defend my jacked dad.
Yeah,
and by the way, I weigh all of 100 and 20 pounds. I'm going to, look.
You know what would make...
You go in the stands, you fight, you're done. But I didn't even really want to bring that up. I know the mom in the documentary made one statement that rubbed me a little raw. She says she was kind of complaining about the clown show of the media continuing to ask Anthony Knox about this. No, the clown show was happening. In some cases, it's better just not to say anything. And of the whole doc, I liked some of what I heard from the dad, liked what I heard from Anthony, and overall, I'm all about, and I think everyone should be all about, second chances, being forgiving and stuff, but I'm also about consequences.
Yes, I'll say this, and I have not watched the documentary, so I need to watch that, but you know what I'm a believer in? Everything stays in-house. I'd be so mad if I was Anthony, or I'd like that whole situation, as mad or whoever's saying anything, dude, I'm a believer of, dude, the problems we have in this house here, they stay in this house. They don't leave this house, and nothing gets out to the public. Like, we handle it internally. If there was a problem, like, dude, the fact that this went, I'd be so mad if I was Anthony Knox or someone involved in his camp, because, dude, this just went public for no reason. Like, this is so unnecessary energy being spent here. And just, it's like, dude, just wrestle, keep your business in your camp. Like,
however, Zach, if we shared every argument me and you get into,
we keep it in the camp.
Yeah, but
we keep it in our camp, don't we? Yeah, they probably would. They probably would have the numbers.
We get better numbers.
But I like keeping it in the camp, baby. Keep it tight.
I got to say this about Anthony Knox, though. You got to give it to him. He came back. He won his fourth state title in Jersey, and Jersey's tough, so that was a accomplishment. And he won the U20s U.S. Open.
Cornell had quite the weekend. And,
yeah, Cornell had to be happy. However, this is kind of unrelated to Anthony Knox. But I noticed, I was watching this documentary, watching him win the state title, and I thought they were showing the same move over from different angles, a little slow motion over here, and I'm watching this same move like 5 or 6 times, and it was like, dude, let's move on to the next move. Mm-hmm. No, it was all. Then I found out he teched the guy
with one move.
So his A move, and it's like a high crotch where he switches off to a double, and he's got very good at it. And it brought this to mind. How many times do we see a wrestler where they're saying, we ask them,
yeah,
do you watch film? Do you study film? No, not really. I concentrate on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What? Look, this guy has perfected an A move. You will see this move. You will have to deal with this move. And most likely, if you didn't do any prep and drilling to defend against this move, he will score on you with that move, and then your whole game plan might be up in smoke, because all of a sudden now I'm chasing trying to get this guy. I can't even get my A move out. I'm all for studying film, drilling, knowing this is what he's going to do. This is what a DeSanto's going to do. He's going to grab you right there. He's going to look for that fireman's or that dump, and he's going to do it over. That's the reason I know DeSanto. And this Anthony Knox, he's perfected this high crotch into the double or whatever you want to call it. He's perfected it. His A move is brilliant. But when I wrestled, I liked the Jason Knowles of the rear. I wanted to be like that kind of wrestler. Jason Knowles, Bo Nickel. I can name a whole bunch. PJ Duke. You have no clue what move's coming next. I like that in a wrestler. Now, you got to respect the guy that's gotten so good with his A move that it's near and unstoppable. but it is eventually stoppable, especially if someone's smart enough to drill for it, prepare for it, and know how to counter it. And that whole theory about I don't study film, what? Why wouldn't you?
I'll say this. I've asked so many wrestlers that, and it baffles me that I've never gotten a response that, yeah, I will study a wrestler if I know I'm wrestling for a week. Everyone is focused on me, and I get that. Like, if I'm at my A game, no one's beating me. That mindset, I get that. However, look at every single other sport in the world.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, the reason he was good was because he knew what they were doing. Like,
yep. He studied so much film.
Every single other sport. I can tell you right now.
He studied
when
so
Joe's
much
wrestling,
film. Yeah.
He's going to know the other wrestlers' A, B, and C moves.
Yes.
Before he goes and wrestles them. Because we're going to do prior film training. I don't know how that has not been massively, incorporated into the sport of wrestling. But to me, hello.
Yeah.
That is.
And the right game plan is I'm bringing my A game to him. Well, you better get going right away, because this guy, if you give him even a little bit of a break for him to start his A game on you, you may never even get your A game out. But I totally agree. And drilling it, the problem is getting the correct drill partner, because you got to get a
Yes.
drill partner that is so good, makes you wonder where certain RTCs aren't hiring real well-rounded wrestlers that can imitate other wrestlers well.
Like Valencia?
Well, Penn State kind of has one in Conway. Conway is their, how many times Gilman took him overseas as his partner, and someone else.
Casey Cunningham, I believe, just won Freestyle Coach of the Year.
Is that
Shout
right?
out Casey Cunningham. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's very important to have a quality drill partner to simulate, so you can drill and defend against, and it's coming. It's coming because you see any of the big wrestlers there, whether it's a Hamidi ankle pick or whatever, what's coming, and it can be drilled and defended against. And that kind of goes back to the Stanich against Bassett thing. It's almost like he knew how to wrestle that match. Anyway,
I'll say this. That was one thing I did not realize, and I've learned a lot over the past year how highly regarded drill partners are when it comes to these transfers.
Oh yeah.
And I think that might be a big piece of the Penn State advantage. I mean, they got everybody in the room that can almost emulate any other person, right? And the best drill partners are at Penn State. But yeah, if you're a wrestler looking to transfer, especially at maybe heavyweight, dude, is there anyone even in the room there that I can train with? That's a big deal, especially at the upper weights.
Yeah, I don't know if Kirk is staying and trying freestyle after he heals up. I certainly hope so. But I'll move on to 61. That was a long time for 57. 61, Kyle Larkin, Arizona State's Kyle Larkin, over Sam Herring. And quite frankly, I was absolutely impressed by most. Now, I hate to get off a track so much here. By the way, Nate Desmond gets sixth. He's a Penn State guy. Aaron Seidel, a Pennsylvania three-timer, he got fourth. I was impressed with him. Larkin's impressive run included wins over Cortez, Seidel, and Herring. So that was Larkin, Kyler Larkin. Arizona State's got a real thing. But here's my thought, Zach. Is this going to become the next trend? Unless the NCAA puts absolute restrictions on transfers, NIL, and stuff, why wouldn't a wrestler be this way? Which two schools are you picking? What do you mean two schools? Well, of course it's going to be two schools. I'm going to school A, and I'll see if I can start there. It really doesn't matter if I start or not. I just have to be kicking butt wherever I'm going. Freestyle over here, open tournaments over there. I got to keep my image up, my name up. And then, of course, I have to transfer to utilize the money. So it's going to be two schools. I'm saying that thinking, like, Kyler Larkin, where's he end up? And everyone's looking,
does he go to Iowa?
because one of the three biggies will be getting the big bucks out. And I hope that's not what we evolve into, because wouldn't it be kind of interesting? And I thought, okay, come to dreamland with me for just a second. You have to go to a college within a certain diameter of miles from a college. And if it was that way, that's the only school you were allowed to go to, who would be the number one university, the number one college in all of NCAA Division I?
You're asking?
Lehigh. Lehigh would be number one. Pitt obviously would have their titles. I know Iowa would be a big player. Ohio State would be a player. Penn State would be kind of tough, but even like a Gettysburg or a Shippensburg, because Central Pennsylvania's got a little firepower too. But all I'm saying is that would be kind of fun to have a territorial. All the Lehigh Valley wrestlers had to stick in Lehigh Valley. But, okay, I'm out of dreamland. But very interesting question. There would be a couple places out in California. I don't know if they have to actually get wrestling going out there. Which maybe, yeah. But anyway, okay, I'm getting sidetracked here.
Arkansas.
65 is Luke Stanich. Lehigh's stud over.
He finished it off, yeah.
Yeah, Pearson Manville, Arizona State's Pearson Manville, who he's very tough too. But Stanich's run included wins over Zapata, Bassett, Manville. That was just impressive. It makes me wonder, I guess Bassett will enter 65 seniors. And why not? Because that would be a little boost to his confidence. You know, you take a loss like that. We talked about this last episode, how you get a humbling experience when you're a wrestler. And I'm sure that was for Bo.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's obviously...
That's the hardest part about social media.
Yeah.
When you lose, dude, you
yeah,
can't
you're
go
very,
hide.
very out there. Yeah, you got to swallow that big
That's why
old...
I can't wait for Penn State to lose that first show after that, right?
Yeah.
When you got to come on here.
No, I don't have that. I don't have what it takes. And so when I see a guy like Bo Bassett continue to plow forward to get better, use that to get better, I have nothing but respect for them types.
Yep.
And okay, I'll move on. I won't say much other than that was impressive. I will say this, is I seen somebody write this and it made me scratch my head. I thought, here's a team that can't even – no, wait, they are in. But think about Lehigh's top three guys.
They are in. They got lucky in that lotto ball.
Yeah.
You know who got screwed? Purdue. Purdue got screwed in that lotto ball.
At 125, they're going to be – who did?
Purdue. They had the most lottery balls, and they didn't get picked.
Oh, my goodness. By the way, lottery ball
I like it.
Okay, whatever.
Come on, old man. Gee, my netty, dude. A little fun every now and then.
Lehigh, 125, Seymour. Okay, we got probably an AA guy. Then they got Crookham, and then they got Stanich at 41. Yeah. They're out of the gates.
Yeah.
They could put a 9-0 lead on daggone Penn. No, they couldn't, because Seymour ain't beating Lillidaw again. And that's right, we got Ono too. Never mind, skip that last comment. But okay, Duke at 70.
Duke over Miller. You touched
Duke
on that.
over Miller. I will say Jackson Joy, Cornell, another stud. That kid looked good.
Cornell Kevin was happy with the Cornell weekend.
Yeah, and
we'll talk to him later this week.
Robidoux beats Jackson Joy 7-6, and Robidoux is Oklahoma State's big dog. Jackson Joy's Cornell's big dog, but them two are right there, and it kind of goes back to the statement at the very beginning. No one is out of reach anymore in the U.S. We've gotten that deep, and that's good for our sport.
I love it.
Yeah, that's good for our sport.
Unpredictability.
Miller did tech Joy. But it's so easy to get a tech in freestyle that can be deceptive. At 74, Ladarian Lockett over Sealy.
Yep,
130 some entries in that weight.
Yeah,
okay,
that's incredible.
Some of them weights had. You think about that. I mean, to get top 8 is just astounding.
That is, man. Yeah.
You know, and Sealy was right there. I was so impressed with Sealy, and it was so encouraging. I knew that wasn't him in them 2 duels, although the one duel he got ripped. He should have been given the win. And Lockett obviously is good, but not unreachable or untouchable, no doubt. Okay. William Henkel over Brock Montanona.
I like this. Watch out for that Brock Montanona kid in Michigan.
Both the Montanonas.
Both of them.
I know, and they got that weird. It's weird. I thought he's going to get his clock cleaned, and he comes out of nowhere and almost beats Henkel.
Yeah, he's fun.
But Henkel is the real deal. Probably if you said, who's the single guy that impressed you the most there? And I was impressed by Lillidahl. I was impressed by Messenbring big time. But William Henkel impressed me. He really, really did. The thing is I think about how Henkel fits in at Penn State and stuff. And when I talked about the 2 colleges, what 2 colleges are you going to? I hope Henkel fits in, and I think he will. Maybe it's either him or Sealy. Things are gonna get. It's very logical to say Penn State's going to end up losing one of them.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
David Taylor.
Welsh has 3 years left at 84, but I was talking 74. Duke, I'm thinking more at 65 or 57. With Herring or Perry or something. I don't know, but man, I hate to lose either of them. But I will say, okay, 86, Max McAnally over Aiden Sinclair. By the way, McAnally did a 11-0 number on Adam Waters, Ohio State's Adam Waters. Can't say enough about that. Although, again, it's freestyle, and 11-0. It's just different than 11-0 in folk style. Agree?
Agree.
But that was still impressive, and I couldn't be more impressed with Aiden Sinclair. I don't think he has the athletic skills as a McAnally or a
I don't know, man.
Angelo Ferrari. I don't think he's.
I think he might.
I think he's very, very good at his game, but just overall athletic ability. I still have.
He might not be at Angelo and McAnally level, but he's close.
He's good enough to beat either one of them.
Yeah.
By the way, why wouldn't Angelo? What are you? I don't do freestyle. What? What's there doing? What are you doing? You can't tell me I'm overwhelmed with books here or something. Dude, why not?
No, I would have liked to see him. But
why not? And that had to. You cannot tell me that he's not sitting there watching, and it's got to be burning. It's like, dude. I mean, you're only young once, and I don't really do freestyle. Well, you're gonna have to be Olympic champ anyway, so you might as well get started. So I don't know. Do you think Tom puts any pressure on the boy? Let's go. Let's get over to our.
Tom probably
Hawkeye
doesn't want him wrestling freestyle.
Hawkeye Wrestling Club. I don't. That's true. And
right.
That's back to that duels championship at the beginning of the year. You think Tom ain't gonna get some white hair over this because he's worried about taking injuries? And I mean, he jumped in. Originally, he wasn't going to be part of this. Probably thinking about, no, I'm not going to put my guys at risk at the beginning of the season. I need every one of my studs at my weights to be the best we can be. And now I'm going to World War III at the beginning of the season. And
I'm sure he said yes after he heard Kale say no.
I know.
That's only makes sense. He said, wait, Kale said no? We're saying yes.
I know. There you go, Kale. There you go. But, yeah.
All right, let's roll on here.
Yeah, I'm going too slow. Connor Mirasola over Cody Merrill, which I asked, how good is this Cody Merrill, Oklahoma State's guy? He's good. Just not as good as Connor Mirasola. No, I was impressed with the Mirasolas.
Rademacher.
Mirasola, by the way, went 11-0 over Sonny Sasso, and I have a lot of respect for that whole family and stuff. But anyway, that was big, and Cody Merrill's going to be a threat. But I Justin Rademacher over
McDaniel.
Camden McDaniel, and Rademacher is a Oregon State Beaver, and he is absolutely impressive. However,
he ain't gonna be at Oregon State long.
Did you watch that match?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I got to tell you, I would take McDaniel.
Really?
Yeah. Rademacher he's jacked. He looks more like a dude. He's very fast twitch. Everything you want. Camden McDaniel has a grit about him that he was right there from stealing that win away. Actually, he had the win, and he lost it right at the end, kind of like Sinclair almost.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, I do like him. That's a Nebraska guy, McDaniel. Okay. He's going to be a name we all. At 125, Cole Mirasola over Drayshawn Ross.
That's an upset, right?
Yeah, I got to think that's an upset. Yeah.
That's an upset.
Yeah. And by the way, Cole Mirasola, he beats Mako 9-6. I mentioned before, it was a hard win in the sense that, okay, you got taken down 3 times,
I watched
dude.
that match, yeah.
You got taken down 3 times. Somehow we got to stop that. I know Mako, I don't know what you just let people push you around?
I know.
What? You just get pushed around?
Yeah, it kind of blew me away. Like,
I know.
Mirasola was down late in the match. And
I've seen that before.
He pushed his way out to win.
Yeah, Stevenson had a match where he DQ'd a big name. And all he was doing is pushing him. I'm sorry. No one's just pushing me out of bounds over and over again.
I know. I would line up and sprint at them.
Yeah, I know. I do not get that. Drayshawn Ross, he's very good, but that had the sting. That was another hit to DT and the Oklahoma State boys. But he's obviously very good. Ross, by the way, he beats Kobe Merrill, and Kobe is the one. Him and the Rainey twins are the last 3 of the top 10 big dogs that haven't committed yet. So I'm sure there's going to be people after Kobe Merrill because he's very good too. But Cole, I'd love to see him move in with the weight trainer just to get size, a little more size, and I'm sure they're working on that. But I do like he is an AA threat. There's no doubt. Is he there with the Bastidas of the world? Is he there with the other big dogs of the 285-pound class next year? I don't think so. But
trending well.
Yeah, we'll see. I know Hopke, like I mentioned before, beat Mako, and Delegata beat Kobe Merrill. But it was U20s was fun and entertaining. I'm not a big freestyle guy.
Just as fun as seniors,
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought it was just as fun as the senior division, which we'll move to next, which we touched on Lillendahl over Cronin at 57. Incredible for Lillendahl as a high schooler, man.
He looked sharp and hungry. Yeah. So that was really encouraging. By the way, Seymour wasn't there. And that was the matchup I was hoping for, a revenge match. We'll have to wait till next year. But then at 61, old Jax Force.
Jax Force, a high schooler. I think I just called Lillendahl a high schooler. He was a high schooler like a year ago, but Jax Force is now currently over Seth Gross, dude, which...
Yeah, Jax looked incredible. It'll be very interesting watching Vito against Jax. By the way, I don't know who to pick there, dude. That's going to get very interesting at Final X. Jax against Vito, because I do not know where. I know one thing: Vito better be on his game, because Jax is it's nothing shocking about him beating Vito.
No, I mean, man, I'd like to see Jax.
I think Vito is the favorite. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's got to be the favorite, but
of course, Spencer is a little bigger favor over Lilladol.
Yep, agree.
But I'm not saying Lilladol has no chance. Again,
I agree.
I mean,
you just don't know, man. Stuff happen any given day, dude. But
yeah, the name that stuck out with me, and I actually asked this in the last episode, how good is this Divino? Pretty daggone good. I mean, considering he beats Megaludis, he beats Fix, he beats DeSanto, he loses to Jax 4-0. This Divino is...
Yeah. Dayton Fix hurt. That's
now,
unfortunate.
Marcus Blaze did come back and beat Divino for third place 7-0, which that was a statement win that Marcus Blaze
needed.
Kind of like Duke. Didn't wrestle his best. That's all part of the learning experience. But I will say Ohio State has to be happy with Divino. Ben Divino. He is absolutely 65.
McKenna over Mendez, 3-2. I mean,
yeah. Did you
Ohio
see
State
that?
Kids.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was impressed with McKenna. Did something James Green needs to learn how to do. Continue to attack. He did not stop, and he earned that win. And, you know, a lot of times you get a lead and you go in defense, and a lot of times you see a guy continue to attack and you yell at him afterwards, dude, all you have to do is defend at this point for 30 seconds. You learn how to defend, learn how to get light in your feet, learn how to get your hands out there. You shouldn't be able to do this. Well, it's hard to say what the right way, because McKenna kept attacking and it really neutralized Mendez in my book. Stanford's Aiden Valencia, who got third, made the biggest statement in the weight class. And we said that he possibly could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 2 wins over Real Woods. That's impressive. Poor Bartlett, whether it was last year's finals, this year at the Nationals, this year at the Open.
Second too late, right, to Mendez.
He has such close losses. It's really heartbreaking, and it's impressive how good he is. And all I can say to Bo Bartlett is don't give up. And we've seen this story play out so many times in the past where we've seen documentaries, sport documentaries, doesn't matter the sport. They got so close. They just couldn't get over the edge, or couldn't clear the last hurdle, and then finally they did. And I think we could see that in Bartlett. Of course, the trials are going to be fire, because we will see Mendez, we will see Bartlett, we will see Valencia back there, but Bassett will be there, hungry.
Yeah.
A little PO'd, ready
Coming
to...
off a loss, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this kind of goes with a lot of the weights. It's gonna get really interesting at the trials. But I was impressed with Joey McKenna. And 70 Yanni over James Green.
Yanni.
Yeah, I blasted James Green there because that's what he does. He gets a lead, and then he goes in defend mode. And James Green, your A game is attacking. So, dude, I am no coach. If I would have been your coach, I would have been in your face about, you better not go defend right here. You better go get a takedown right now, or no supper for you. And no, that's James Green. He's never lost at 70 in the U.S. Has he? Well, maybe. I don't know all the history, but I know one thing. Whenever he's wrestled 70 kilograms, he's won, except here. And I ultimately have to give it to Yanni.
Yanni looked great.
Yeah, Yanni did look good.
He fell down early in a match, early on. I forget who it was against, but then he came storming back.
I feel good about Yanni being our representative.
He looks healthy. He looks good.
I would love to see Nick Lee just throw his name in. Why not? Give it a try. But I also
looks good.
Feel good at 74. You think, oh, no, we lost Dake. I'm sorry, Zach. I feel good about Messenbrink. I do.
Yeah.
Of course.
That Messenbrink David Carr match was fun.
16-6 over David Carr that was a way to say
David Carr.
Enough of that.
made a mistake. He tried to go gas tank for gas tank with Messenbrink, and that.
But of course, again, we're at the trials. Will Nolf be there? And we already know Duke said he's going to jump in. So
I think Nolf hinted around it.
Dude,
he's ready.
That would make for a very interesting Final X. Could you imagine PJ Duke against Messenbrink at Final X, or Nolf against Messenbrink at Final X?
Oh, I want to see Nolf and Messenbrink.
Oh my goodness,
dude, that's
or Nolf against Duke at the trials. Of course, I'm entering Tom's land. All of a sudden, I'm getting worried about an injury. Let's not injure any of these guys.
Yeah.
I'm not going in the duels championship. By the way, thank you, David Taylor. This is exactly what this sport needs.
I know.
Okay. Now, here's a weight class that Evan Wick. Why did Evan Wick look better than I've ever seen him?
And did he look bigger than I've ever seen him?
He did. He made Hamidi look small. By the way, Hamidi, now you get a taste of your own medicine, because everybody that's got to wrestle you is you're tall as freaking Jolly Green Giant, and I'm supposed to wrestle you, and you got a taste of that yourself there, because Evan Wick and him are both built the same.
Yeah.
Long. Lots of.
But Evan Wick looked bigger.
There was no ankle picks there that day. And, yeah, he dominated. Evan Wick looked stronger. He looked 25 pounds bigger. I swear he did.
Someone else who looked bigger. Valencia looked bigger than Dake.
Yes, which makes me think, will Dake be down to at the trials at 79 to take the 70? And really, that kind of makes sense. He kind of got a little goofy there, Dake. I'm going up 2 weight classes. Okay, Superman. If we take that cape off and
hold on, because up till that finals match, Dake physically bullied every other wrestler around,
including Keckeisen.
Dude.
I know.
Until Valencia, and then it was like, whoa, that was like, okay, now
And that duck under just kind of changed the whole match. That duck under kind of changed everything.
Smooth.
And
but he couldn't push. Dake could not push Valencia around like he could Keckeisen.
No, but
or everyone else,
yeah.
Which was surprising. Going up 2 weights, you thought, hey.
I mean, as a U.S. fan, what I want Valencia. I'm convinced. That's the real deal. I want Dake. I want Marsteller. I want Starace to all get at 79. Have nothing against Evan Wick. If Evan Wick turns out to be our representative, if he wrestles like he did at this Open, I'm fine. I'm just saying that, would I rather have Dake than Evan Wick? Yeah, I would. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Starace against Dake, just for our entertainment purposes. Yep. Marsteller obviously isn't far off either, but will any of them?
Marsteller closed the gap on
Valencia.
Sure
Starace's going to give his hand at the trials.
He might be going MMA. Who knows?
I think
he might
so.
Be going MMA.
I was a little surprised we didn't see several names in this Open.
And being first and foremost.
Yeah. But Valencia, obviously, very good.
Yep.
8-4 over Cal Dake. Do I think Cal Dake could stay at 86
and come back? Yeah.
Win trials, come back and beat Valencia? Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, you could say maybe that's...
I think I would pick Dake in the next match. Valencia gasses out.
Yeah, if Vegas was setting odds...
Valencia always gets the lead early and always loses it late. And
you have to think, what about McAnally? Would he consider entering seniors?
Oh, slow down 86? There, young bull. Slow down. Slow down. Come on now. You see how big Valencia is, dude? Valencia is a freaking man out there.
That's true. Yeah,
and by the way, where's Brooks?
Well, he's at 97, so he's not going to be here. Rocco Welsh, I thought, looked good. I think Rocco Welsh just entering this freestyle is a bit of a pressure releaser. I mean, all this press about
I
the
agree,
whole Ryder and him switch, and actually it had to be weighing on him, almost like all that trouble
You wanna get
weighed
that
on
first
Knox.
match
Knox
off the
took
plate,
that weight.
yep.
Yeah, go wrestle. That's the best. He got some good wins, took some losses. Seen where it releases pressure.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
I'm all for that. Here's another weight that, I'm with you. This is a big one where I want weight movement in the United States. Trent Hidley. Love him. He's awesome. He beat Sinclair 7-1. Sinclair's the real deal, but he's not quite there yet for the seniors. By the way, your man Mike Mock got third, so
I know, I watched
he's
him.
a player too. But here's the thing. Brooks is going 97. We got a 97-pounder. We got Snyder.
Yeah.
Or Snyder, if Brooks is going 97, one of you.
We got
Let's get you on a diet. Let's get one of you, either Kyle Snyder or Aaron Brooks, back down to 92.
Yeah, that makes
Does
sense.
that absolutely mean that they're going to beat Trent Hidley? No, because we know how close they are. We've seen it before. But I want the absolute best team possible, and
I thought I was doing announcing full time.
I know. Next thing I know,
he's two things. What a
he's
talented
great.
individual that man is.
But yeah, and he's good. And if he turns out to be our rep, I'm totally fine if he wrestles like that. But I also would love to see both Snyder and Brooks on Team USA. That's why I'm saying this. But it may not be. We may see Aaron Brooks against Kyle Snyder to find out who
Be fun.
ends
That would
up.
be fun though.
I mean, first Brooks has to heal up and win trials, and then face Kyle at Final X. And
Wouldn't that
kind
be
of
something if Aaron Brooks ends David Taylor's Olympic career and then ends Kyle Snyder's? That would be something if Aaron Brooks could
wow,
notch
that's
in
true.
the belt, right?
Wow, wonder how much David Taylor it burnt that he's watching this, and it's like it's just now setting in.
Yeah, he's got to be thinking, dude, I could probably win this.
I could win this. It's got to bug him some. But
and then he looks over his shoulder and Richardson's. That's got to be a little annoying, right?
now we talked about some names that you're just shocked that they're not there. The biggest shock of all, we discussed it last, is how in the world does Gable Steveson not be like waking up thinking
Where you
about
at, Gable?
Wyatt Hendrickson? Where is he going? That's where I'm going. How he's not there is beyond me.
Biggest non-statement made.
Do I see a UFC fight? Is it scheduled? That it's something I don't know or something? I don't know.
I
But
don't understand that.
Wyatt looks good. I am 100% comfortable with Wyatt being our representative. And unless Gable comes out, Kirk gets healthy, maybe he could give some, maybe he's the one, but mostly only Stevenson would give Wyatt. I'm fine. I'm ready for the Wyatt era.
Me too. And
Okay.
you know what? That reminds me. My friend requested Sean McDermott.
Yeah?
I think it was a real one, dude. Buffalo Bills head coach.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've talked about shoot for the moon every now and then. I thought this was a shoot for the moon. Well, he accepted, so I messaged him another moonshot for an interview, and he responded yes. And now I'm like, that can't be the real Sean McDermott, right? But I want to ask him about Gable. I should respond to that message.
Yeah,
I haven't
absolutely.
responded.
You know,
I don't know if
there
it's
we
real or
have the
fake out.
U17. Now, we didn't have time to get into U17. I do want to point out
One Bassett.
how good Jaden James looked. Jaden James looks good. One of the champs right there. But I had to point out this, Zach. Check this out. The father-son team that qualified for the U.S. Greco team.
Yeah.
And it made me think, no, it's too late now. I'm too old and fat. Me and you should have teamed up.
What are you talking about?
We
Corey?
might have
You
been
and
able
Corey.
to get place at Mawa Regionals or something.
Where's Corey? Corey's the wrestler, dude.
Oh,
His father's son.
Corey, I can't
That was
even,
Corey's hype man.
you can't even get the man to play cornhole anymore.
I know.
Well, I had to win that last time out. I don't want to really mess anything up. I'm just gonna. No, he's busy with his air traffic control and whatnot.
Flying airplanes around.
I see. Meet Allure. Wow, she transfers sponsors. Is that
Rudis,
a new trend?
Dumps Rudis to Nike.
Yeah, is that a new trend or something?
I don't know, but I like it. If we're getting Nike sponsorships in wrestling, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a Rudis. Everybody's got a Rudis.
You know,
nobody's got a Nike.
We have these transfers to beef up college teams, but at some point, will we have a transfer war between RTC and RTC where you start seeing transfers just to get them in your practice room, lock them down with a contract? That's the only thing I'm saying about the whole transfer NIL thing is you made a commitment, so there should be a consequence by you breaking that commitment and transferring somewhere else. That's all I'm saying is you should have to pay back the scholarship money or something. It's just right now it's Wild West, and of course I guess it's August. We'll find out what the NCAA is going to do. We'll see, but I had to put this picture up right here because families across this country are getting into wrestling, including this family. And that was supposed to be a joke. Is that a funny picture or what?
I think that's AI, isn't it?
No, it can't be.
It's AI of the Family Guy family.
Is that right? I got fooled by AI?
That's not the first time you've gotten fooled by AI on this show.
Is that really AI?
It has to be.
Oh, my goodness. It has to be? Couldn't there possibly...
That has to be.
Could that possibly be a real family?
Folks, you tell us. Is that a real family?
Oh, no. AI is going to ruin everything. Dang God. Are you kidding me?
I think.
Wow.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right this time.
I don't know, man.
And the women, shout out Kennedy Blades won. Kayla
Yes.
Miracle won, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. Couple of our interviews.
You should put up. Do you have the women
Montana, DeLauder did not win. But
she had a
good
win,
showing.
but it's. I mean,
Strong.
she's young. She's just getting started in this international senior women.
She's representing well, Montana.
Yes.
Yeah, but overall, folks, it was the biggest statements of the weekend.
If you haven't watched Montana's interview, go check it out.
Go check it out.
Interesting young lady.
Yeah,
but,
old soul she is. But biggest statements of the weekend. Top 4 here. Aiden Sinclair on the map, right? Number 2.
Yes.
Bo Bassett code exposed. Or maybe, I don't know.
Zach, can you imagine how that burns a hole in Bassett's eardrums when he hears that? Because
I know it
all
does.
the work he puts in.
I hope it does.
I mean, put yourself.
Go, Bo. We got that.
Put yourself.
Let's
in
go,
their
Iowa.
shoes.
Yeah.
It's like I almost want to. I just give up. I give up. I've done this much work. There's no reason for me to lose, and I go out and I lose to the guy that hasn't wrestled in a year and a half.
That's what makes wrestling, man.
Daggone.
That's what levels you. Number 3, the Penn State dynasty. I was saying it's over. It might be extended.
Yeah.
And finally, number 4, Jack's Forest. Period.
And number 5, the secret game within the game, the chess game between David Taylor and and I wonder if they're
come on that.
Wouldn't you just love to be on the inside there?
You think they text?
Yeah, I'd like to know. Do you text? And is it just little jabs? You walking by each other at the arena, just little jabs.
It's one of those text chains. It's one of those text chains that probably goes 10 years back. And if you go 10 years ago, it's all friendly and friends. And then if you look at recently, it's like, wow, has this conversation changed, right? You got any people on your phone like that? You go back 10 years and, well, it used to be friends, but I don't know. That's all I got.
I'm sorry about Cody Merrill, sorry about that one, David. It's just a little jab, and Kale.
Hey, I was running late. Sorry, I had to send Gilman out there to coach that match. I don't know. All right.
Or better yet, how's Gilman and David Taylor? Wonder if there was any communique that happened in the arena there.
Well, and it had to be awkward because, like, Gilman was just coaching that kid
I know.
on the other side like a week ago.
I know.
Which has got to be awkward because he's probably telling, what's his name, Duke. Yeah, last week I told him to do this against you. So that's like, I mean, right? That's got to be.
I don't know, man, but all in all, I am a folk style guy, but that was an exciting. That was a fun open, and absolutely enjoyed it.
Fun, folks.
Yeah.
Presented by Claw. Well done.
Yeah.
U.S. Open, and
now
we'll be
you're
back.
getting ready. Is this the last show in this studio?
I don't know. It might be. But talking about transitions, and yeah, I'm going through one right now.
You got the
Moving
key.
back.
The place is empty.
About to make a trip back tonight.
So
baby.
all them trips back and forth. Wow.
We might start a. We should do 2 shows a week.
Well, with you 7 minutes away. By the way, we timed
Pre-recorded
it.
and alive.
It was like 7 minutes and 53 seconds.
We'll be at 7 minutes and 53 seconds apart from each other.
Yeah.
You to the second you timed it.
No, I actually didn't. But it's somewhere around there.
Like it is like that.
I know one thing: the 50 minutes I have to go one way to come.
I know.
The number of trips down here.
I'm ready. We got a yard, baby.
But-
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Putting a
that's-
wrestling mat in the garage.
Wow.
Kelly don't know it yet. That's a wrestling room. That's not a
Wow.
garage.
Wow.
She said we need to get the garage doors fixed. I said, no, you don't. Just kidding. All right, folks, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the show.
Yes,
This is BG
yes.
Wrestling.
I feel like something else. We're supposed to promote something else. We always forget the promotion. Of course, I've watched podcasts where the very first thing they say, don't forget to hit like. Shut up.
Did you win
Just
Wrestle
shut
Madness?
up.
I did not win Wrestle Madness for U.S. Open. I didn't finish last, though. Claw presented the U.S. Open, and USA Takedown Radio. I mean, they got
There's
heavyweight
the real
guests
deal.
every
Old
single
Scott
weekend.
Casper.
So
Yeah.
check them out.
All
right.
And Gettysburg Wrestling. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time. It's BG Wrestling.
See you guys.